back to the Childhood Cancer Perspective, and thank you all for sticking with me. One of the things I've talked about in the past is if you can find a silver lining when it comes to a diagnosis like pediatric cancer, it is meeting people and meeting communities and organizations that will be by your side and will change your life in the positive forever. One of these organizations that is very close to us and did something incredibly special for our daughter, JC, when she was going through her cancer battle is Make-A-Wish Wisconsin. Now, what I will say before we get started is that when we were first in the hospital and our daughter was, just coming out of one surgery and our social worker comes in and about 13 other people come in to talk to you and you're overwhelmed at that point and they bring up Make-A-Wish. And I think that there is a connotation growing up, if you don't understand what it is, you almost think it's more along the lines of last wish. And I want to dispel that myth today because it's not what it's about. And I want to talk more about what the mission is and what it truly means to have a wish granted. So today, my guest is Forrest Doolen, the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications for Make-A-Wish Wisconsin. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today, and the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you for having me, Curtis. So, it's a delight to come and talk about Make-A-Wish and the impact of a wish and to dispel that myth. I've been working with Make-A-Wish for 17 years, and I'm always surprised that I still have to battle that same misnomer that it's for children who are terminal or dying or whatever, and that none of that is true. It is children who are battling a critical illness. Certainly, it's serious. If a child qualifies for a wish, it's not they've gone through a tremendous amount medically, and they are in some serious trouble. But so many of our kids are thriving. They're surviving and thriving, and now for me, having been with Make-A-Wish for 17 years, I'm spending time now getting together with Wish kids who I was part of their wishes back 15 years ago. And now they're, young men and women that are, engaged and going to college and starting careers. And it's really cool to see.
And that's truly is amazing. And that was one of the things that I wanted to kind of was to ask was really what kind of feedback do you get throughout the years or even in the immediate days following a wish, the kind of positive impact that it has on a child and on their life. What is it that the parents or the children say that it made that impact for them?
Oh, yeah. We hear it both immediately. We hear it in the month and year after, and we hear it 15, 20 years later as well from families. The parents so often talk about the fact that I saw my child smile. I saw them laugh for the first time. So in some cases, I saw my child smile for the first time ever on their wish while they were enjoying their wish experience. Our family was reunited, was brought back together. A lot of times, it's easy to focus on the child, of course, who has the medical condition, but so many times the siblings also are really struggling because they're left at home, or, maybe parents are split because one's at the hospital and one's with the other siblings and still working. And so families don't see each other a lot and also don't get to feel normal. And so we'll hear back from families also so much that say it was so nice to just be a normal family and have fun and do things without the worries, without the medical worries, without worrying about a doctor's visit, without worrying about this next thing or that next thing. In some cases, we've had families tell us, we got back from our wish and our child hasn't had another seizure. And they were having them regularly before. So there's been some pretty amazing stuff that happens. We have coordinated efforts with a wish. It's really powerful stuff. Doctors will prescribe a wish because they know the impact a wish has. A wish really does impact a child. It certainly impacts them mentally and emotionally, but so oftentimes it really starts to make a difference for them physically, and all that's connected, right? We know that hope and having joy and having something, positive to look at can really be a game changer. And for a lot of kids too, suddenly they're really willing to go through their treatments with a whole new, perspective. We also hear from families that, and from wish kids as well, that, their wish suddenly gave them something to live for. It changed their whole outlook on life. Like suddenly they want to do stuff and they want to, and they suddenly realize they can. like the possibility is real. We had a wish family, a young man named Caden, and Caden's wish was to go to Disney World, and he had a mitochondrial disorder, and he was had a lot of limitations, and so their family, they just life was about Caden, and they didn't really feel like they could do much, and they weren't doing much. They just kind of were staying home all the time. And they went to Disney World on Caden's wish, and it just completely opened their world. And they realized, oh, there's a lot we can do, and there's a lot we want to do. And they did. And they went out and, they began to live their lives. And then Caden really wanted to pay his wish forward. And so he set a goal to raise enough money to grant, his goal was to grant 100 wishes over the course of time. And his family is still to this day, I mean, they're well past 100 wishes, and his family continues to grant more wishes by raising funds and doing fundraisers. So I mean, it really does change so many things for these kids, and it opens doors. It can open doors to new careers, to new so many different things. It's just pretty amazing.
Yes, it's all incredible. And I think in the very beginning, you described our family dynamic to a T at that point. Our daughter was JC. She was diagnosed in January of 2020. So the height of COVID taking over the world, and we're stuck in the house. We can't do anything. And I have two older daughters, and, the wish was something that we kind of put off and put off and put off because she was feeling so good. And we were in that mindset. We don't need it because she's not, at the end. And that was, again, that's that myth that everybody kind of surrounds it. And we were guilty of thinking the same thing. And her wish was literally granted 2 days before she had to go in for chemo. We had to rush it because, she had a relapse, and we said, well, we've got to get this done now. And the Make-A-Wish team around here was just incredible at putting it together and making it incredibly special for her. And the pictures of everybody sitting by the window, watching them all bring it in, and unfortunately having to leave the balloons outside and kind of walk away because he couldn't come inside. But it was something that made her, again, it made her smile. It made her happy. It made her forget all the stuff that was going to happen in the next 48 hours. And it was something that we'll cherish for the rest of our life. And, and all the stuff that she received, her bedroom is still set up the same way that it was when she received that wish. Unfortunately, in July of 2021, so in July of the following year, she passed, and she wasn't able to really enjoy it as much as we'd hoped she would. But in that time that she had it, it meant the world. And so Make-A-Wish has always been something that's very close to us, and trying to ensure that people understand that just because you're receiving it doesn't mean that it's a negative thing at the end. So we're getting rid of that myth. We're dispelling that. We're letting you all know it's to make people smile. It's to make them forget about what's going on. It's giving something that they deserve, that's something that the respect that they earn, they get something along the lines of that wish. And I obviously in that time. So I was going to ask you this too, and I think I'll tell you if I think it's the same thing, and you'll tell me if I'm right or wrong. But in that time frame, all travel wishes were canceled or were kind of put on hold just because there was nothing you could do. And she really wanted, and has always wanted to, and at that time really wanted to go to Hawaii. Like that was her thing, and everybody was like, we got to get there. We want to do it. So what is the most requested wish that you get just within Wisconsin here?
Yeah, I mean, the most common wish is Disney related. I mean, about 40% of our wishes are Disney World or Disneyland or Aulani in Hawaii. So, makes sense, right? I mean, Disney is very well known amongst children. And so that is definitely a very common one. I will say from a travel wish perspective, and especially, I mean, we've really seen a huge spike over the last several years since COVID, is Hawaii. And Hawaii's always been a popular travel wish, but it's just kind of gone through the roof since COVID was over. During COVID, we saw, and this isn't probably surprising either, we saw a big spike in camper wishes because, obviously during COVID, people weren't going many places, and this. I mean, life for the average person changed, but for families who have a child that's battling a critical illness, they couldn't be exposed to anything, and so their lives were even more, they're just more isolated during a pandemic like that. And so things like camper wishes and swimming pool wishes, things that they could enjoy at home or they could just enjoy with their immediate family, became really popular for a while there as well. But the wishes really fall. I mean, they're all over the place, right? We grant wishes. They primarily fall into four categories. I wish to have a computer. I wish to have a shopping spree. I wish to have a gaming system. I wish to have Legos. I wish to be a police officer. I wish to be a ballerina. I wish to be a singer. I wish to meet my favorite, my favorite singer. I wish to meet the Green Bay Packers. I wish to meet, whoever that celebrity. A lot of, actually these days, it's a lot of YouTubers and influencers that I'm on the older side of things, and I've never heard of any of these people now. So young people are watching different celebrities and who they want to meet. But and then I wish to go, of course, whether it's Disney World, whether it's Hawaii, whether it's California or Colorado, Wyoming. We're just starting back. Cruise wishes and international wishes were the last wishes that we were able to kind of bring back after COVID. Those had to wait a little bit longer, but it really is. The wishes are as unique as the kids that are wishing for them. And I mean, people always ask, well, what's kind of the most unique wish? And I don't know if it's the most unique, but I mean, this was definitely unique. We had a wish kid named Lincoln, and Lincoln wished to have a camper so that he could find Bigfoot and feed him marshmallows. Like, that was the full description of his wish. And we made it happen, right? Like, we took him on a hike, and he had a Bigfoot hunting kit with him, and he had a magnifying glass, and he had a noise collar and all this stuff. And going along the hike, and at the end of the hike, there he came across his camper, and he kind of made one final call, and all of a sudden he heard a response from inside the camper and opened the door, and there is Bigfoot, played by our friend Chewbacca from the 501st Wisconsin Legion. And he got out of the camper, and I mean, Lincoln literally started shoving marshmallows in his mouth immediately. Like, it was this whole experience for Lincoln. Lincoln was 6, right? And it was the coolest thing for him. So yeah.
Those honestly, I think, are the most incredible. And the one that's been shown on TV lately is the young boy named Hunter that wanted to be a dinosaur.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Watching that is the most wholesome, and just it just melts your heart to see that. Because that's what makes them happy. Okay, there's nothing wrong with wanting, a camper or a trip or Legos or something like that. But when you see these kids and their genuine hearts come out, and I just want to be a dinosaur, I just want to find Bigfoot. That's the most important thing to them at 5, 6, 7 years old. And to be able to grant that, the amount of happiness and joy that they're going to have and remember for the rest of their lives is just, you can't put a value on that.
No,
and I think that I love to see those more than anything in the world. I love, I get now every year we get a Make-A-Wish calendar, and you get to read all the stories for 12 months of these kids, and so many of them are, I wish to be a princess, or I wish to grant other wishes for other people. Like, I want to give other people things, and I don't want them. And that's what's so incredible about all these kids, is that they care so much about everybody else and not about themselves. And I say it all the time, that's the one thing that our world is missing, is people that care about other people versus worrying about yourself. And it's so unbelievable, and I love that. So for what you guys do and what Make-A-Wish Global does, I personally, from my family and from our community, want to thank all of you for what you do and how you go out of your way to make these wishes so incredibly special for these kids.
Well, we know that it makes such a difference, and we all say, working at Make-A-Wish is an honor. It also keeps life in perspective, and it's a true joy to be able to do what we do and to be able to bring these life-changing experiences. And the great thing is, we're a small staff, right? We've got 29 people that serve the entire state of Wisconsin. This year alone, our fiscal year ends the end of August, and we will be granting over 450 wishes just in this year alone in Wisconsin. And 29 people can't do that kind of work. And so the great thing, and one of my favorite things about Make-A-Wish, is it really does take the whole community. It takes medical the medical community, right? Those are the folks that are referring the kids, the social workers and the nurse practitioners and the doctors and all of those folks. And it's the volunteers. Every wish family is assigned 2 volunteer wish granters that work with that child and family and start to kind of work on figuring out what that child's wish is and managing paperwork, but also building excitement and then helping host that wish celebration, whatever that is, whether it's a drive-by, whether it's a parade, which became really popular during COVID, or whether it's just a big party. And then, of course, the thousands of donors and, both in kind and cash. I mean, there are people donating their services and they're donating airline miles and they're donating toys for us to be able to give to Wish Kids, and they're donating money to grant the wishes. So it's a massive community that grants these wishes. And it's a really cool thing to see a community rally around a child and a family to celebrate that wish and to experience that wish. One of my most profound stories that I share, people will ask me, well, what's your favorite wish, or that kind of thing very often. And for me, I always come back to Brady's wish, because for me it just kind of exemplified what Make-A-Wish was really all about. And Brady's wish was granted. Brady also had a mitochondrial disorder, and he was in a wheelchair, and he wanted playground equipment for kids with special needs. But like you pointed out, he was really selfless, and he didn't want it just for himself. He wanted it for other kids too. So he wanted it to be at their local fireman's park. And so we worked with the community there. We worked with the village, and we were able to put in a special section in the fireman's park in this small town in Wisconsin. And when the community heard about it, they wanted to help make it even bigger, and they put in additional landscaping. And I mean, there was a sidewalk put in, and Brady got to be there, right? He got to help put in the equipment or see it being installed, and he got to put his hands in the cement. He had his own little hard hat and got to be there for the whole experience along the way. And then we had set a date for Brady for the dedication and kind of the wish celebration. And unfortunately, just a few days before, Brady had an incident and he ended up passing away. And so we left it up to the family what they wanted to do, and they still wanted to go on and do this wish celebration as a celebration of his life and his wish and in his memory. And so I was already scheduled to speak, so I was planning to go out there, and over 300 people from that community came out to recognize and celebrate this beautiful wish experience and this little selfless boy. And it was the coolest experience to watch all of these people engaged. We did a balloon release and with his favorite color balloons, and it was just filled with powerful moments, and you could just see the ripple effect of the wish and how many lives that one wish and that one selfless little boy touched. That kind of thing, that's just so inspiring and so life-changing for anybody that experiences something like that.
Yeah, it is. It's truly incredible, and honestly, what a beautiful story, and to be remembered for something so selfless is incredible. And what I love is knowing that there's that one wish can affect so many people, and it can just give you a sense of just joy, but also wanting to give back and kind of changing people in their day-to-day life. And I often say to people as well, especially with our personal connection with pediatric cancer, is that if you just talk to one of these children for 5 minutes, spend 5 minutes with them, whether they're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, they will change your perspective on life 100%. Yeah. You are going to get up in the morning with a new vision. You're going to get up in the morning and realize that all the things that we gripe about as adults are not important, that everything that we let get to us is just not worth it. And if you can just put forth the effort and the genuine heart and loving joy and care that these children have, just a zest for life, no matter what, and they're facing some of the worst hardships on the planet that we as adults, again, make it the worst thing. I make a joke saying that the man flu is a real thing, right? And that we fall down on the couch, we're under the blankets, don't touch us, don't talk to us. The world's done for 2 to 3, whatever, we're over it. And But these kids are going through some of the worst things in the world, and they're still smiling. They're smiling and laughing and joking and saying, I want to do something for you and something for you, and who cares about me, essentially. And I love that because I know that my daughter was one of those people, and I know all these families that we're so close to and that we've come in contact with are just like that. These kids just want to give back, and we should just take so much away from everything that we see, whether it's the commercials, whether you're there for a dedication of something that they do, where you're able to partake in it and be a donor or a sponsor of something like that. Just take it in and just take a little bit away from what they're able to give us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and we've been doing this now in Wisconsin for 40 years. We're celebrating our 40th birthday this year, and we've granted now well over 8,000 wishes. We actually just granted our 8,000th wish in February for a young lady who wanted to sing with the symphony, and she was from the Milwaukee area, and we were able to partner with the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra, and she sang with a 100-piece symphony, and she sang in front of 1,000 people, and it was it was goosebumps. It was amazing to see this wish granted. And her name is Lulu, and Lulu is doing well. And it was really cool to see that wish granted, and to know that there's 8,000 families just like Lulu's that have experienced that, including your own, Curtis, and that know the power and the impact and the change in life that happened as a result. And we often say, we would love to not exist anymore, right? We would love to be able to go out of business because there are no more kids that are battling cancer, that are battling other medical illnesses. But as long as these things exist, Make-A-Wish is going to be here to make sure that we grant those wishes. And our goal is to grant the wish of every eligible child. And our eligibility is pretty simple. It's a straight medical eligibility, and you have to be at least 2.5 and under the age of 18 at the time of referral. And you can't have received another wish previously. But as long as you meet those criteria, you will be granted a wish. And in Wisconsin, we're very proud that we have never had a waiting list. No child has ever had to wait for, at least due to financial reasons. I mean, we can't control things like pandemics where suddenly, travel is delayed and those kind of things. But we'll get creative, and we'll make sure a wish is granted in one way or another. And sometimes the celebrity wishes take a little bit longer, just trying to get those scheduled. But our goal is to grant the wish of every single eligible child, and we work really hard to do that. And each year, about 500 children in Wisconsin are diagnosed with a critical illness, including many of those with cancer, with childhood cancer. And so for us to be able to be granting over 450 wishes, it just means we're hitting pretty much the majority of those kids. It's not an exact science. Kids come to us at different stages. Some choose to wait for a while until they get their treatments and all of that. But it does mean that we're hitting our goals, and we're granting those wishes, and we want to continue to do that day in and day out.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I think it's you've said the same thing that I've said for almost 3 years now, is that we are, as an organization ourselves, we are the antithesis of what a business is. We want to go out of business because we don't want to be needed anymore. And so one day, hopefully that'll happen. But at the same time, when you have hundreds of children just in your state every single year that are being diagnosed with cancer and then the thousands across the country, and then when you go to the world, it's like, this is not something that's going away anytime soon. And to be honest with you, it's not getting any better. And I wish that we didn't have to exist to send care packages or to advocate or to grant wishes to these children, but they deserve it. They didn't ask for this, and they deserve to be, kind of honored and taken care of and spoiled, to be completely honest, and to know that they matter so much more, even if, we can get deep into things of funding and government stuff, but even if that is not up to par, we're here for you, and we're going to make sure that you're taken care of every single day. So would you say that, I mean, for us, and we are not Make-A-Wish big, and a lot of people can't say that, right? We're not that large or have the influence. We're working on it. We're getting there. But would you say that you have a really good level of support from community, not from community in general, but from companies, organizations that are willing to jump on board with Make-A-Wish when it comes to wishes? Do you have any roadblocks that happen with that type of thing for them helping out or anything like that?
No, I mean the majority of companies, organizations, they will absolutely support and give. I mean, certainly there are, especially larger corporations, you're going to run into where they've developed certain parameters of, okay, this is the kind of causes we want to support, and so maybe we don't fit in that particular. But even in those cases, there are times where if we have a specific wish around a particular thing that might fit within their giving, or if they can figure out a way to do something for Make-A-Wish, they will. Because people know the difference that Make-A-Wish makes, and they want to be part of that. They want to help grant that wish, and especially when you're talking about Wisconsin's filled with all kinds of communities, right? A lot of Wisconsin is small, rural, it's small towns and rural areas, and there's companies all over the place, and they want to help grant wishes for kids in their own communities. We have a lot of companies up in the northeast Wisconsin area, up in the Appleton and Green Bay area, that just really work really hard to support Make-A-Wish and to help grant those wishes of children living right within their own communities. I think people don't, sometimes it's, you and I know because we're in this, but there's lots of people, right? I mean, 500 children a year is a lot and way too many, but compared to the, however many of millions of people that live in Wisconsin, so not everyone is directly always connected. But I think people are surprised that Wish kids are oftentimes, it's not that far away from you. It's your neighbor, it's your coworker's child, it's your, there's some sort of connection, most likely, that you don't even realize. And a lot of times too, I mean, we've had volunteers who've been volunteering for Make-A-Wish for years, had healthy children, and all of a sudden, I mean, there was one instance where a family, a couple that had been wish granting for a number of years, and one was actually working on a wish, and the other was at a doctor's appointment with their child, and within a second, all of a sudden they went from being Make-A-Wish volunteers to being a Make-A-Wish family because their child was diagnosed with a critical illness that suddenly qualified them for a wish. And so, I mean, I don't want that to happen to anybody, but reality is it can. I mean, you just don't know. So I think knowing that, and also, I think there's a lot of people that like to support Make-A-Wish because they're just grateful that they have healthy children, that they don't, they know that Make-A-Wish will be there if they need it, but they're also grateful that their children and their grandchildren are healthy and happy and don't have to have that experience. And so, so I think people want to support in that way as well.
Absolutely. And I think, and that what you said is actually very telling in the fact that not everybody may be directly connected to one of these children or going through whatever it may be, but at the same time, you're probably very close to it. Yeah. For us, obviously, our daughter was diagnosed, and literally 2 streets away from our house, so 2 blocks away, there's a house that a child's Make-A-Wish was to have a Christmas display every year in their yard. We had no idea about. So then after we found out, we went over there every year to watch the Christmas display, and it's incredible. And that's joy, because that's something that they're giving back to their community, right? Everybody gets to enjoy that, not just them. We had no idea that they were there. Yeah. And so whether it's direct connection through family, through friends, classmates, coworkers, whatever, or it's just your community, you have no idea. And I remember being told by our coordinators through Make-A-Wish that there are a lot just in your area that, obviously we're not going to give out the information, but there's a lot more than you realize just in the Fox cities, really. Yeah. And that's scary because, again, you never know what somebody's going through. So I always push that to just be kind to people, because you never know that somebody's having the worst day of their life, that someone has They've just found out the worst news ever. We like to say that we weren't cancer parents until the day that we were, and therefore you never know what's going on. And so the fact that it's so close to all of us in some way, I wish the support was 100% all the time, and that people were giving back. And, it doesn't always have to be financial. It can be word of mouth. It can be sharing the stories, sharing the organizations, anything like that to really help get the word out and make it easier in reality for all of us. It's not running. It doesn't matter the size of the nonprofit, whether you are us with a board of 5 or whether you're a Wisconsin Make-A-Wish of 29 people. There's dollars and cents that make it run. There's community that makes it run. There's organization. We need the support on all different angles. So, take the opportunity to really learn about what is going on and learn about what's going on in your community, and, do the best you can to really give back. And to be honest, don't turn a blind eye, because it's unfortunate to say that it can happen to anybody at any time, but it really can.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. You just don't know.
So that's one of those situations that, it's growing up. I think that, we're all guilty. Maybe I say we're all guilty of it, not realizing that, like in Milwaukee, that 7 floors up, there are children battering for their lives on the 7th floor of that building, and then for types of cancer and things like that. And we weren't either until we were there. And then you realize, walking through that hallway, and all those rooms are like fish bowls, and you're looking at a family going through the worst thing in the world, and you're wondering, how did we get here? How did we become that family on the commercial that you never really paid a mind to? And it's not about guilting people into supporting. It's about realizing that it just is, you just never really know. And being there for families and being there for your community is just something that you can do selflessly in 5 minutes. It takes a minute to click the share button. It takes a minute to make a comment, to do anything. And most companies are doing, I know for us here, Bergstrom Automotive is huge with Make-A-Wish. I know they do a massive event for them every year. And it's just a great way to give back to, local families and organizations. Our closest friends, they were part of it 2 years ago with their daughter before she passed. They were, part of the Make-A-Wish promotion through Bergstrom. And it's just an incredible thing to see that support from, to be honest with you, you think CEOs, we don't care about the people, right? And we don't, because we're sitting in our mansions and we're not worried about it. But a company like that, to be able to give back, is just incredible.
And Bergstrom is one of our largest and longest term donors in the state. I mean, they have been supporting Make-A-Wish for more than 20 years, and their whole team is behind it. So they're outstanding partners, and there are so many up in that Fox Valley area. We have a big event coming up in October 16th, called Gourmet Wishes, and we get about 600-700 people from the community that come out, and they gather together at the Rush Center there in Green Bay, and they hear incredible stories and get to really experience what a wish can do, enjoy some great food from area restaurants that all donate their food and bring in. There are about 40 restaurants and that come together and provide fun sampling foods throughout the evening and drinks. And it's a really powerful night when you see a community like that gather together. So if anybody's interested, you can find that on our website, but at wish.org/Wisconsin. But it's great stuff to be a part of, and like you said, just and it doesn't take much. You can donate airline miles. You can, as you said, you can also just help spread the word and follow on social or those kind of things too.
Yeah, I will say that, we've said before, so that one thing that you need to run an organization is money. That's just the bare minimum. It takes money to be able to run and do all the operations. But I always say that probably the greatest thing that you can offer to a nonprofit is your time and your willingness to just share, to be part of it. That getting that word out there is huge, and the more people that know about it, it's great. And to think that people wouldn't know about Make-A-Wish, it's not unheard of because not everybody focuses on that type of thing, or it's easy to scroll past or change the channel and not see it. Getting the word out there, say, hey, check this out, it was important to us, and you get one other person to come in there, and maybe that person donates $10. Maybe 10 more people do the same thing. It adds up, and at some point, a month down the road, everybody that's done that can be enough to cover the cost of a wish even, and that's incredible.
Yep.
So is Make-A-Wish just in the United States, or is it global?
No, it's global. So we have 58 chapters in the United States, including Wisconsin and its territories. And then we are in 43 affiliates on 50 countries, in 50 countries around the world. And so it's the world's largest wish granting organization. We've granted over 550,000 wishes worldwide. And it's really, pretty astounding, right, to see that and to see the difference that's being made in kids' lives all over the globe. Because obviously cancer and childhood cancer and these different diseases, it's not like they're just limited to the United States. It is a global thing. And so sometimes, I'm sure the kinds of wishes probably look different depending on where these kids are and everything. But yeah, it's amazing to see so many different folks and the history of it, right? Make-A-Wish Wisconsin's been around since 1984. Make-A-Wish in general, the actual total Make-A-Wish, started in 1980 when basically a little boy named Chris Gracious wanted to be a police officer for a day. And so this happened down in Arizona, and the local highway patrolmen got together with Chris's mom and a few volunteers, and they made this wish happen. And they realized, and Chris had leukemia, and in 1980, the advancements were not, were not what they are today. And Chris passed away a few days after that experience. But Chris's mom and the volunteers and the highway patrolmen realized, you know what? We can do this for other kids too. Why would we not? And so that was what inspired the creation of Make-A-Wish. And then Make-A-Wish began there in Arizona. And by 1984, chapters were popping up all over the country. In Wisconsin, we had a girl, an 11-year-old named Katina, and she had a brain tumor, and she wanted to go see Michael Jackson and meet Michael Jackson. So a small group of folks sent Katina out to New Jersey, and she got to meet Mr. Jackson and see his concert. And back then, the volunteers and even when Make-A-Wish was formed formally, the board members, they would pay for the wish experience on their credit cards and then do fundraisers afterwards to get reimbursed, in those early years. But it started to take off. And now we're granting over 400 wishes a year. And so here just in Wisconsin alone, and we're granting around 15,000 wishes a year just in the United States.
That's truly incredible. I didn't know the history of it or when it started. So that's incredible. And to be honest with you, I actually I thought, and maybe I just assumed, that it had been around a lot longer than that. Because I was born in 1981, so I thought it's been around a lot longer. But that's truly incredible. Now, celebrity wishes. What does it take in order to get celebrity wishes to happen? Whether it's meeting them, whether it's being at a concert or something like that. And sure. In Wisconsin, now he used to be, and I don't know if he still is. Is John Cena still the most requested celebrity to meet?
Yeah. He is. John Cena is the most requested. He's granted more wishes than any other celebrity in the history of Make-A-Wish. He's granted over 600. It's probably over 700 wishes at this point. So yeah, he is definitely the most popular celebrity out there when it comes to wish granting. And so celebrity wishes, it depends on the celebrity, right? So if it's a wish to meet one of the Wisconsin athletes, from whether it's the Packers or the Brewers or, one of the Milwaukee Admirals or any of those kind of things, those we coordinate out of our office. So we work directly with the Packers, the Brewers, and so on, the Milwaukee Bucks, and we kind of take care of helping grant those wishes and working with whatever, because we have kids come in from all over the country. To meet when Aaron Rodgers was here, we had lots of kids coming in from all over the country to meet him. Giannis, we've got kids coming in from all over the world to meet Giannis at the Bucks. So we take care of those. But any other wishes that are like, nationally, singers, actors, YouTube influencers, those kind of folks. All of that we work through our national office on because, you've got kids from all over the place that are going to request those wishes. And so it's better to have that centered in one spot. And so our national office works directly with those. Our celebrity team works with those celebrities and their agents and their different people to help make those happen. And, it depends on where the celebrity is and timing and it's a puzzle, right, trying to make sure that we're connecting them in some possible way. And so it's making arrangements for a child to fly to California or fly to Colorado or wherever the celebrity may be, if there's a particular concert or particular thing going on. Sometimes those wishes can happen right in our own backyard. Obviously we get WWE here in Wisconsin, so we've granted a number of WWE wishes right in Wisconsin. We had a Roman Reigns wish we granted last year, and he was here in Wisconsin, so we granted it here. And then like Taylor Swift concerts have become very popular. So we've got a number of wish kids who want to go to Taylor Swift concerts. So again, we work through our national office to make arrangements to, try and get those tickets so that the child can go. Last year, when I think it was a year, maybe it's been 2 years. I think it was a year ago. Taylor Swift was in Chicago at Soldier Field, and we were able to make arrangements for a Wisconsin child. We actually fortunate enough to have someone donate a suite from Soldier Field. And so we were able to send a wish kid down to Soldier Field, and she was able to watch Taylor's concert from the suite there. So each one is a little bit different, and some of them can take up to a couple years, because it's also work like, okay, the celebrity's available this date, but that date doesn't work for the family, and so you got to kind of scramble and figure something else out. So it just kind of depends.
Do you find that the celebrities and their agents and things like that are generally really receptive to granting the wishes?
Majority are absolutely receptive. We've had very rarely do we have any challenges. They're so much of the time the celebrities are just kind of blown away. Like, this child can wish for anything, and they're wishing to meet me. It really is a humbling experience for those celebrities, and they get it. And they realize what a big deal it is, and they realize what these children are going through. And so many of them are so good with our kids and will go out of their way to make extra time and do whatever they can. We've had some pretty powerful experiences with some of the celebrities. And I think people would be surprised to find out certain celebrity, Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus are just outstanding wish granters. They were so good with the kids. Of course, these celebrities get beat up in the media by this, that, and the other thing, and their choices or whatever it is. But when it comes to wish granting, these celebrities just really pull out all the punches and really make it happen and make it a really special experience for these kids. And it's beautiful because you're so grateful that they're willing to do that and take their time out and give of themselves.
Yeah, I love that, and I love the fact that actually that most of that is done behind the scenes. It's not something that's out in the front. So yeah, something like Justin Bieber can't walk down the street without being attacked, or Miley Cyrus with you can't walk down the street without being attacked by paparazzi. And sometimes, listen, we all have our limits, right? When we have people in our face and messing with us, but the fact that they can do things behind the scenes and really make a difference. And again, that humbling experience of there's millions and millions of people in this world, and you just want to meet me when you could have anything you want. And I can't even, to be honest, I think I'd just be blown away and like, are you sure that's what you want? Are you sure you want to meet me? You want to use that wish? But that's incredible, and I'm glad to hear that because on the front lines, celebrities, all of us, I think we all can have our views from what we see on the media, and I'm glad that behind the scenes they're doing work that is so much more important than filming a movie or singing at a concert. And Taylor Swift's been touring for like 300 years, so she's coming to a city near you sometime. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
I don't even know how she keeps it up. So for the travel wishes, so let's say for Disney, does Make-A-Wish also make it a point to cover more than just the trip? Do they work to cover costs of being there, food or things like that for
Yeah.
families?
Yeah. Make a when we grant a wish, we take care of every single expense, and including like, this tells you how long Make-A-Wish has been around. At a certain time, we provided phone cards for families so that they could make phone calls without being charged. Obviously, we don't have to do that anymore, but yeah, we take care of every detail. We take care of the hotels. We take care of whatever other travel arrangements are necessary. We make sure that they're getting to the airport. We're providing rental cars. We're providing all of their meals. We're providing spending money, both the Wish Kid and for their siblings as well, so that they can get a souvenir, or if they're traveling at Disney or whatever it is. So we really try to make sure that it is a seamless and effortless experience for the family, so that the family can just simply pack up their suitcases and show up and just enjoy the experience without having to worry about a thing. And we have wonderful partners that we work with. For the Disney World wishes, there's an amazing place called Give Kids the World Village, down in Kissimmee. And most Wish Kids that go to Disney World stay at Give Kids the World, and it's really its own amazing resort land. I mean, they have rides, and they have, I forget how many villas they now have. And the kids can have breakfast or can have ice cream like uh, 18 or 20 hours out of 24 hours in a day. I mean, they can, and so they provide all of that stuff for the families, and it's a special place designed just for kids that are battling critical illnesses. So they've got every possible need covered. So working with those partners to make sure that all these things are taken care of. We work with hotel chains to make sure that wishes, like in Hawaii, and these hotel chains, a lot of them will just go out of their way to, they'll upgrade the families and give them the best possible hotels, suite that they can, and so many of those different things. So yeah, so it really we take care of every little thing possible, so that it is just a worry-free, enjoyable experience filled with hope and wonder and joy.
It's so important. And for anybody that has kids, you understand that if you can take away, just in general, without even this aspect, if you can take away the stress of traveling and all that, and let them focus on their family, that's important. So when you're going through something like this, that's truly amazing. And we have a close family to us, and their daughter Anna was granted a wish, and they stayed at the Give Kids the World
Yeah.
resort down there. And it was something that her, she was progressing in her disease, and it was unfortunate, and she passed away not too long afterwards. But that the smiles that she had while she was there, and what they captured, is something that you can never ever take away from them, and that brought her such joy and just encouragement at that moment. So it truly is an incredible place. I wish we didn't have to create places like that just for these
Right.
children, but the fact that it's there, is you can't say enough about these giant organizations and corporations, or even small ones, that are willing to put aside, cost, and put aside all of that, and just give families something to remember and make memories, no matter what the outcome may or may not be, to give them that opportunity. So
Yeah.
to Disney, that's incredible.
Yeah. And we make sure we include, the entire immediate family, right? So, all the siblings and so on, that they can go on these trips, and again, because, the illness just doesn't affect the child, it affects the whole family. And so we want to make sure that everyone is feeling lifted up. And we do hear that too, but a lot of times from families that, not only did their wish child have this great experience, but for the first time, their other children also really were able to enjoy and have some fun, and felt treated special just as much. And so it's really important to us to include the whole family when we do these wishes.
It is so important. And I actually, the fact that you spend so much time focusing on everybody, not just, the child. The child is the star, right? The child is the one that is going through but especially with cancer, it is a family diagnosis 100%. So the fact that their siblings, like I said, we have 2 other daughters, the siblings are really kind of focused on, and they're given the same type of respect that the child is receiving, and just letting them know that, yes, your brother or sister is going through the worst time in the world, but you matter too, and you're here too, and you're fighting this battle alongside of them. So providing those siblings with that type of support is you can't even put words into it.
Yeah. 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 It's a true family affair.
It really is, and it's something that, again, I wish wasn't something that we had to talk about or deal with, but it's family comes together in times of this type of stress or tragedy or diagnosis, and they come together, and they should be treated as one, which is what they are. And so I'm glad to see that they receive that type of care and support.
Yep.
Is there anything else you would like to tell us about Make-A-Wish that maybe we haven't covered, or anything else from there?
If you want to see the stories or learn more, you can just go to our website at wish.org/Wisconsin.
And I encourage everybody to check it out and put it in your bookmarks and just read a story a day. Honestly, it is to be able to see what these families go through and what they ultimately ask for when they've again, that one wish, right? And they're asking for something for somebody else, or they're asking to just meet somebody, and that's all they want to do, and they see them on TV, and it's all they want to do is meet that person. I want to have a playground. I want to find Bigfoot. That's genuine, and it's truly incredible. So, meet the families through the stories, and understand that there's chapters in your state. You can also volunteer. You can reach out. You can do what you need to do. If you own an organization, a company that wants to help, reach out and do that. There's and again, like we said before, share. Click the share button on Facebook. Click the share button on Instagram, on whatever social media you're on, and get the word out there. It can often be the best form of donation that you can make.
Thank you so much for having me and for taking some time out to talk about Make-A-Wish and talk about just all of the really good stuff that comes out of it. I'm glad that JC got to experience a wish, and we were able to make that happen. So that's awesome.
It was truly something that again, it made a difference in her world. And to be honest with you, what she wanted was a shopping spree for baby dolls. That was her entire thing. And so we've got cribs and strollers and realistic babies, and we've got so much stuff. And then she also had her room redone through Special Spaces Wisconsin that came in and did that for her. So it's a beautiful room, and it's all set up in a way that she could have a nursery and a little school and everything, and it stays that same way. And that's something that will never change. And that was her room, and I've told that to one of the volunteers of Special Spaces as well, and she said that's one of the most heartwarming things we can hear, is that you didn't just tear the room down when it was all done. You leave it there because that's her space. And so having all of that there, and having that wish granted, and going back and seeing the memories, and her smiles when she's pulling stuff out of bags and everything, is there's nothing that we can ever do to replace those days and those memories. And it was truly grateful from our family to everybody at Make-A-Wish that made it happen. We love all of you guys.
It's awesome.
So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us today, and being able to spread a little bit more good news about Make-A-Wish, and dispel that myth from the very beginning that it's not Last Wish, it's Make-A-Wish, and it is meant to really give the kids the world because they deserve it, and it's and to show their true humble hearts. And I appreciate you taking the time. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And everybody, please check out makeawish.com and then .org, /Wisconsin, and you can even check them out in your own state. And if you'd like to volunteer, donate, or share, it could make the world for a child out there right next to you in your own backyard. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you next week.